Well, hello, sports fans, and welcome back to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, and today I'm going to be joined by Nick James. Nick's back after a little brief interlude, and we are so happy that he is back. Hey, Nick, there's been a lot going on in the sports world the last 2 or 3 weeks. NFL playoffs getting ready to get started in not too long as the regular season comes to an end. Let me put you on the spot, Nick. There was an unlikely playoff scenario that's starting to unfold here with the Steelers winning last night. There's this very unlikely possibility that they could get in if they beat the Ravens in the last game, and if somehow the Jags were able to miraculously upset the Colts. The only thing that would keep the Steelers out, and that happened, would be if the Raiders and the Chargers game Sunday night ended up in a tie. What do you think, Nick? Would the Chargers and the Raiders just lay down and say, hey, you know what, we're both going to get in if we just, decide to settle for a 0-0 tie?
A couple years ago, Willie, I might have been that desperate to get into the playoffs, to concede a game like that to the Raiders, to a tie, just play some really bad football. But we had high expectations going into the season and throughout the start of the season. And what not a sweeter way to end the season than to knock the Raiders out. So as fun of a scenario as that is, maybe if it were with another team or a team I thought we'd lose against, you hedge your bet there. But I think we just got to crush the Raiders this week, knock them out, and get into the playoffs.
I think I agree with you there. I don't think either team, the Raiders or the Chargers, would feel very good backing their way into the playoffs. And
Raiders might.
Yeah, maybe the Raiders. While I have you here, I just wanted to give you an update on my NBA top 5 teams. Not much has changed at the very top. Golden State continues to win a lot of their games, and the Phoenix Suns are right on their tail. Number 2. The number 3 team, surprisingly, are the Chicago Bulls. Right now, definitely the best team out of the East. And then number 4, you got the Utah Jazz, along with number 5, the Brooklyn Nets. So that's the NBA top 5. We'll take a little break and we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back, and we are lucky to have Lenny here with us to join us for the next segment, our discussion of the NFL playoffs. Just to give you a brief update on what happened over this past weekend, there were a lot of really significant games that played. I thought it was interesting that Arizona was able to get back on its feet and beat the Cowboys. Maybe the boys aren't as good as people think they are. Kind of a weak offense on the Cowboys, and some people are questioning whether Dak can actually come through in the clutch. You got Tampa Bay had a comeback win over the Jets. Big story, of course, in that one was the Antonio Brown drama that occurred on the sideline. A lot of talk about that little incident. The Rams came back and beat the Ravens, which was very, very good for the Chargers' playoff hopes. With the Titans beating Miami earlier in the day, that opened up the door for the Chargers to win their game against Denver, which they did, and easily. And now the Chargers are back in the number 3 wild card. So, Nick, what stood out for you as far as this weekend's games were? Which games stand out?
Willie, the game that stood out to me the most was probably the Chiefs-Bengals. I think a lot of people expected the Chiefs to win, but weren't surprised with the Bengals winning. It's not that the Bengals won, it's how that game unfolded. Chiefs going up. They looked like they were going to run away with it. Bengals fight back. I mean, Jamar Chase, they got what you got to do on the back of his jersey. Imagine having to literally chase that guy down. It's got to be taunting. And it's interesting the Chiefs couldn't lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC. And if we win next week, we're going to be playing them. It's going to be game 3 of the trilogy. So that was the one I was really keeping an eye on. I expected us to beat Denver.
Lenny, any thoughts on last weekend's games?
Super busy last weekend. Didn't really watch any football. Caught some just fantastic old movies, though.
Oh, good, Lenny. Obviously there's more to life than just sports. Very good. Wanted to get back to sports and give us a rundown on the current NFL playoff situation. It looks like the NFC is going to be dominated this year by the Green Bay Packers. They're the number 1 seed, 13 wins, 3 losses. The Rams hanging in there, 12-4 at number 2. You got the Tampa Bay Bucs, kind of injury depleted right now, hanging in there at number 3, 12-4, followed by the Cowboys at 11-5. In the wild card situation, you got the Cards, number 1, Arizona number 1, 11-5, and then the number 2 wild card, the 49ers. Watch out for the 49ers. They are currently in the second wild card, followed by the Eagles. The Eagles are already in. There is an outside chance the 49ers might not make it if they lose to the Rams. And if the Saints were to win their game, the Saints would knock them out. In the AFC, you've got the Titans, number 1, followed by the Chiefs. Number 2, you got the Bengals at number 3, followed by the Bills at number 4. In the wild card, you got New England, the number 1 wild card, followed by the Indianapolis Colts at number 2. And right now, the Chargers hanging to the number 3 wild card. Of course, the big showdown with the Raiders Sunday night is going to determine who actually makes it. Nick, as you look at this group, you see any sleeper teams? We know who the favorites are. But what team do you think is on the outside that might surprise?
Well, Willie, in the NFC, I was thinking the Eagles. I was rolling them out at the beginning of the season. They were 2-5. Jalen Hurts has been playing a little better. That defense playing better. They're getting their receivers going, and Goddard has just been unstoppable, let alone that just unpredictable running game. You don't know who's going to be carrying the ball, but someone is going to get you some good yardage there. I think the Eagles are a team people do not want to play in the first round. And for the AFC, I was thinking Colts, but he reminded me the Patriots are in it, and I think the Patriots might be the just most tedious team to play in the playoffs. You got the Bill Belichick experience. That defense is rocking. I think it'll be tough. So even though they don't have any home field advantage, really, the Patriots are going to be the sleeper team. Probably won't make it to the Super Bowl, but they're going to cause at least one upset.
Well, I haven't been watching football, as I point out, but I have been keeping my eye on the odds. And the reason for that, I want to make some money. You know, I have some financial shortfalls to kind of make up for, if you know what I mean. So listen, we're talking about sleeper teams. The ones that nobody's talking about are those that have been eliminated. And so the odds are phenomenal. You might remember, Professor, last week we were talking about what teams were not going to make the playoffs. And I said, hey, ones that have been eliminated already. And a week later, I don't want to be all I told you so, but I was 100% accurate on that. So getting back to the current playoff picture, the 2 teams that come to mind for me are the Broncos and the Dolphins. I'm literally going to put my money on the Dolphins. In fact, I've cashed out some of my 401k on this, because if they are able to pull off that miracle, hey, I'm going to be able to buy my own island.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that, Lenny. We're going to have to leave it there and take a little break and send it over to the Ronnie Rundown. Take it away, Ronnie.
All right, everybody. Hope you all had a good holiday. We're back with another Ronnie Rundown after a little bit of a hiatus. Look, we're not doing picks today. We're going to take a little break from gambling because, and you heard it all before, but I'm going to say it again, not going to get into it too much, but Vinny Balbucci, you're dead to me, and you know why, all right? All last week he's telling me, take the Jets, take the Jets, take the Jets. The Jets are a lock. He's got an inside tip. He's telling me Antonio Brown is going to walk off the field in the middle of the game, and it's going to ruin all their chemistry, the whole vibe that they got going. He's got an inside tip, and the Jets are a lock. So we put the house on it. I took out a loan to put on the Jets, and, you know, sure enough, the Bucs end up winning. And what we find out later is he got a bad tip. It was Antonio Moroni, which Moroni is Italian for Brown. Antonio Moroni was going to walk off the job site. He's doing construction at a new apartment complex in Queens, and he walked off the site because, you know, he wouldn't take the vaccine. So that's what we found out was the insider tip, and he screwed me. And, you know, look, we're not doing video today, obviously, you can see, because I don't want anybody to know my location. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location. Yeah, I left over there to get to Caesar's house. Yeah, thanks, pal. Not giving out my location, and Vinny Balbucci better watch his back. Let's just say that. But let's talk NFL playoffs a little bit at least. coming up in a week. I think NFC, it's going to come down to Packers, Bucs. That's probably what we all want to see. Aaron Rodgers versus Brady. The 49ers are getting hot at the right time, so that could be exciting. The AFC is wide open. The Chiefs are always going to be dangerous. They've been there before. Can't count out Bill Belichick with the Patriots. The Colts are getting hot at the right time. The Titans are looking like they got kind of that magic thing going right now with the chemistry and playing like a cohesive unit. So I think the AFC is wide open. We'll know more after next week, after the regular season ends, but we're looking forward to the playoffs. No picks today. Good luck with whatever you decide. And Vinny, sleep with one eye open. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Ronnie. Our favorite time of the show is up right now, and that's reaching into the ever-bulging mailbag to answer viewer questions. This week, we selected one from a viewer, Super New Year. Well, they're going to have to change their name in a few months, I guess, because it won't be the New Year anymore. Be that as it may, his or her question is, now that Antonio Brown is not on the Bucs, will another team sign him to their roster? What do you think, guys?
I don't think there's an NFL team right now that's going to sign Antonio Brown to their roster unless he first gets some type of mental counseling, some type of psychological help. Everybody made a lot of fun over what happened on the sideline over the weekend and his antics, but I do commend Tom Brady for showing some sensitivity and compassion, talking about, yeah, he was their teammate and they still love him and he just needs some help.
Yeah, it sounds like they don't really have a problem with the guy necessarily, just he's really unpredictable. I think maybe obviously not this season, maybe not next, but if he can turn it around, some team's going to be desperate enough. If he's still staying in shape off the field like he has been, and he came
he's
in
still productive.
Yeah, he's still productive, and if he didn't do that, he'd probably be the Bucs' main guy going into the playoffs right now. So I'm going to say there's a chance, maybe a bad team. You just really got to figure out a way to manage the personality. If Bruce Arians was a little more patient on the sideline, that might not have happened. I'm not excusing Antonio Brown at all, but if that's what you got to do and you want the guy on your team, it's all written right there.
I wasn't even sure what this Antonio Brown guy did. As I said, I've been very busy, but I did some rather serious research into the topic after reading the question from our viewer. And I learned that his Wikipedia page hasn't even been updated to include this latest turn of events. I'm surprised you guys knew about it. I'm sure most of our viewers don't. But the interesting thing I learned in doing my research is that there's also an Anthony Brown, and very similar name, and he's a member of Congress. I believe he represents Maryland's 4th congressional district, and there was nothing on his page about whether or not he even played football in high school or wherever. Definitely not NFL though.
Oh, yeah, didn't forget that other Anthony Brown. Yeah, can't forget him. Well, we're out of time now, and I just have to say goodbye for this week's show. I wanted to thank Nick for coming back. We really missed him. Lenny, once again, your insights are tremendous. I don't know what to say sometimes. I wanted to remind our viewers to subscribe and to comment, to like our show if they have a chance. Remind everybody that if you have a Sports on the Spot question, you can submit it to the sportsonthespot@gmail.com or just ask it in the little box in our YouTube channel. That's going to be it for today's show. Thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you all next week.
Unbelievable.